Now, as I'm sure you've already heard, former MMA fighter and actress Gina Carano has been on the receiving end of cancel culture recently for putting up her views on Twitter. Now, it seems that the breaking straw for a lot of people was one tweet in particular where people claimed that she was being anti-Semitic. After she posted the tweet, people became enraged for her doing what they believed to be was comparing conservatives to victims in the Holocaust. Her tweet said, "Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone based on their political views?" So the entire narrative that we read about in the headlines and the narrative that was given to people all around the world was that she was comparing conservatives to victims of the Holocaust. And this led people to verbally attack her all over the internet, saying the worst possible things that you could imagine to her. And eventually it resulted in her losing her role in the upcoming Star Wars movie, among other things. But as she pointed out in her recent interview with Ben Shapiro,
when I posted that, it wasn't something that I felt like was controversial. It was something that I thought, well, maybe all of us need to ask ourselves how that happened. Because, it's important. The post never said anything about Republicans or conservatives. It doesn't say anything about that in there. It was more about people tearing each other apart. And I thought it would be more of a thing where you bring people together. I was like, oh, this is bring people together.
So given that she was being sincere, and the truth was that she was using this tweet to actually bring people together and to unite people, people still twisted her words and said that she was comparing conservatives to victims of the Holocaust, and that simply wasn't true. Even Saturday Night Live decided to cover what happened. Here's a clip.
Hi, Gina. Are you here to apologize?
I'm here for the opposite of that. I've done nothing wrong. No one can even explain what I did wrong. Explain it.
Okay, on Instagram you said conservatives have it as bad as people living in Nazi Germany.
Okay, congrats, you explained it. Look, I never would have made that Nazi comparison if I'd known everybody was going to be such a Nazi about it.
So essentially, this live resulted in her losing a big role in a major movie. It resulted in her having her personal character attacked, her career being tarnished, and so on, all behind something that wasn't even in the tweet in the first place. Now, we've all seen and heard stories about someone who spent 20 years in prison for a crime that they didn't commit, only to have some evidence come forward eventually proving their innocence. When this happens, we can only imagine the relief that people must feel after being falsely accused for so long and finally being vindicated by the truth. It was the truth coming out that had the ability to change the people's perception of that person, and in this case, the truth literally set them free from prison. Now, I hope that we can all agree that someone shouldn't be punished for something that they didn't do and something that they weren't guilty of, and we should be relieved when the truth comes forward, right? Well, I guess that depends. In today's culture, we have people put in situations like Gina where they can be lied on, publicly shamed, slammed, harassed, and even have their lives threatened based on lies. But only in these cases, the truth won't set them free. It doesn't matter how sincere her intentions were, and it doesn't even matter that she wasn't even comparing conservatives to the Holocaust victims as all of the reports accused her of. What matters is the narrative that they attached to her in order to further a political narrative. That narrative today has become far more important than truth to most people. As a society, they've conditioned us not to focus on the truth, but instead to only focus on the narrative, so much that the truth doesn't even matter to us. Now, notice here that I'm not saying that the problem is that people can't be wrong accidentally or something like that. The issue is more about how people downplay or even ignore the truth in order to advance themselves or their political narratives. But from a Christian perspective, I couldn't help but think about how this stresses the importance of the 9th commandment in the Bible. Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. When we bear false witness against our neighbor, we create untold hurt not only to our neighbor, but also to our community as a whole. In order for people to be truly free, they need to have the truth. We also remember that Jesus said that he is the truth and that the truth would set us free. Paul said that if it wasn't true that Jesus really rose from the dead, then we're all to be pitied above all men. If Christianity is not true, then we would be hurt by believing something that isn't true. If Christianity is false, then we shouldn't believe it. This is one of the reasons why Jesus performed miracles and resurrected from the dead, because it showed the truth about who he really was. And even to this day, we're able to trace the facts about his resurrection in order to verify that Jesus was actually who he claimed to be. So truth is foundational to the Christian worldview. And because of this, Christians above all else should be prepared to love our neighbors and not use the truth as a weapon to hurt others, but instead instead as a tool to help others. Now, if you want a good example about what can happen when we reject the truth in order to appease people or to try to keep the peace, then go ahead and check out this video to see how Steve Harvey compromised the truth about what Jesus said in order to accomplish something that can only be solved by what Jesus really said. Now, if that sounds confusing, then go ahead and click on this video to see what I mean. But the next time that you hear people are destroying people's livelihoods simply based on flat out lies, what are you gonna say?
What do you mean?